Hey everybody, this is Erman Baradi with Origins 2021. Thank you all so much for being here. For this session, I'm interviewing screenwriters of different horror shorts and talk about the creative process and all that fun stuff. So today we have with us Davis Clark, writer for Growl and Bark. We have Phil Dishon, writer of Everyone, Ryan Jaffri, writer of The Call, and Joan Philo. Hope I said your name right.
Philo.
Joan Philo.
Philo.
Oh, Philo. Okay, awesome. Joan Philo, writer of You Hurt Sissy. So thank you all for being here with us today. First off, just out of curiosity, where's everybody from here?
Chicago.
Chicago. Oh, because you did mention being extras casting for the Chicago shows. Okay. Joan from Chicago.
Lawrenceville, right outside Atlanta.
Okay. Davis from Atlanta, almost.
Almost Atlanta.
New York.
Ryan from New York.
Yeah.
Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, of all places. I'm surprised no one's from LA, but it's cool to have different writers and filmmakers from different parts of the country. First off, once again, thank you so much for being here. But I love interviewing writers because, especially in the horror genre, because I think being scared is such a primal thing of being human, right? Like we enjoy what scares us. So it's really cool that I'm interviewing writers of horror. So for each of you folks, if you can talk about your movie, your script rather. So if you could talk generally about your script, what it's about, and kind of what the inspiration behind it. So we can start with Phil.
Oh, cool. Hi, everybody. I'm Phil. I wrote a short script titled Everyone, and it is about a young kid who kind of screws up a initiation at his new school and gets on the bad side of an urban legend that turns out to be very true and very literal.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Phil. How about you, Joan?
I too wrote about some kids. I wrote about a kid, 12-year-old boys. They're Native American scouts, and it is their scout trip camping for a weekend, and it's in the woods, and they find this doll and they mess with it and they destroy it, and the forest comes after them. Very, very frightening for the boys. They get haunted, and it's just full of some blood, and the mom gets involved. The end.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Joan. Thank you so much, Joan. Funny thing to talk about kids. Today I was at a costume store and I came across a Hasbro Ouija board. I'm like, why do you have a Ouija board for catered to kids, Hasbro? Yeah, so it's cool to see and read scripts with kids in them, because horror doesn't discriminate against any age group. Let's go with Davis next.
Well, I guess to keep up the trend. So mine's about a young boy at home with his dog. And sad, like they're already quite sad. There's evidence left behind that his father left the house after being drunk and abusive. And to make matters worse, the dog starts growling because there is something at the door. And the kid goes to answer. He doesn't see anything. And then he looks out the window again, and we have a werewolf. So you have a young boy and his dog who are deep friends who now have to survive the night against a werewolf in the house. Absolutely
love it. I love werewolves. That's my favorite. Those are my favorite monsters. People are like, don't you love vampires? I do like vampires, but I do have an affinity for werewolves. So thank you so much, Davis. Ryan, is your script about seniors or is it about kids also?
It is about actually somebody close to retirement age. It's about a man who's working in the finance department of a marketing firm, and he's about to be pushed out by a younger employee, or so he thinks. I think reading out the plot summary would do it more justice than me just. All right, so
go for it.
1965, a small man in a big world works hard to close a deal, doing everything he can to please his boss, but the clock is ticking and someone is out to get him.
The Call.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing that. Davis, I see you have Mike Myers in the background, so this actually kind of alludes to my next question, and that is, I'm sure as horror filmmakers and as horror writers, you're also horror fans, obviously. you watch a lot of horror movies that that inspire your own writing. So for each of you, what is that? What is something that you've seen, whether it's a franchise or maybe it's a one-off horror film, or maybe something in real life that you draw from? What is that thing that has inspired your writing for your specific shorts?
Well, what's crazy is this isn't even my place. So, Michael's just here hanging out. But like specific movie, I would have to say the first horror movie I really remember watching, which was Scream, which is very ironic because Scream broke down the rules of horror up to that point. And at 10, 11 years old, you have no idea what they're talking about. So each time you come back to it, you've learned more and more. And since then, like for this script, Randy's talking about everything from Halloween to Prom Night to The Howler. And it's like, I had no idea what any of that was, but I immediately wanted to know what they were talking about. So I just kept, as I got older and kept coming back, I kept learning more and more of the references, what they're talking about, and being able to go from there, basically. So Scream kind of was like my jumping off point for everything horror.
I love it. I remember I was 5 when Scream came out. I was 5 when Scream came out on VHS, and that was the first horror movie and movie in general where as a kid I actually understood the story, understood what they're talking about in terms of like plot, right? So that was one of the early movies I saw as a kid where I was like, okay, actually this is like, I understand what scary movie is, like what a scary movie is. By the way, I'm so salty about them killing Randy. Don't know why it happened, but still salty.
I'm salty. I still am like, I understand why, because it hurt, and I respect that it hurt.
It hurt,
so,
yeah. It moved the story along. Somebody had to go.
Yeah, bless his heart.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Davis. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'll go. So I love horror movies, and I'm so pleased because I got to cast Sinister 2, The Extras, Nightmare on Elm Street, and The Grudge 2. Oh my gosh, The Grudge scared the crap out of me. I love the part like the legend, the girl just standing there and melting back into the wood. But I also found like The Ring just did me in. Like The Ring was so gritty and the cinematography blew me away, but it just was so scary, that girl coming out of the to TV. And then it's so sad that when they found out like the well and she died, it was so scary. So I just love like thinking of scary and like my characters, because I'm really into comedy, and I found that comedy and horror really have the same style of writing. It's a surprise, it's the scare. So I naturally like both things I love. So horror is just a huge love of mine, influenced definitely by those movies, and a thrill to be able to work on some of them. It's awesome. And screaming in a movie, oh my God, is that the best?
Isn't it? Yeah.
It's hard to get some audience to scream, like, but I'll do it.
Well, thanks for bringing up Sinister, because I actually really liked it. And the other day, I was just watching, like, I was reading the top like 20 scares of all time on some list, and Sinister came up as number 1 with the lawnmower scene.
Wow.
Yeah. It was very recent. I forget which list it was, but I was like, okay, let me revisit this scene for God knows why. And then I rewatched the scene on YouTube. I was like, okay, I understand why.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Phil or Ryan want to go next?
Yeah, I could go a movie that inspired this one, Poltergeist. Like Poltergeist, it still scares the hell out of me. And I saw it way too young to be watching Poltergeist. So, it really stuck with me. And if I could even do half of what that movie did, just to scare the ever-loving bejesus out of you at every turn, it's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I actually got to rewatch that. I'm EPing a horror short next month, and it has to do with like ghosts and stuff like that. I remember Poltergeist was cursed, right? That was one of the sets that was cursed.
Yeah.
Supposedly. Yeah. Now I gotta be careful, and I gotta bring like a priest and all the other religions on set just to be safe. Thank you so much, Phil. Ryan, would you like to share?
I don't know if it's my favorite short film, but one that was kind of like an influence on the call was When a Stranger Calls, the classic one. I was really intrigued by how just a voice over the phone can be so menacing and move the story forward and cause such a reaction on the face of the one character on screen. Like the voice itself in the film had such a presence and foreboding nature to it. And watching that actress, I forgot her name now, but it really showed to me, like, you know, the voice itself is a powerful means to convey a message and get some great performances without even seeing a person's face. So yeah.
Is that in your script?
Huh?
Is that in the script that you wrote? Did you use a voice?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the film is actually done now. It's right. It's about maybe 2 weeks away from completely being wrapped in post-production.
Nice.
I submitted the script to the festival in October, and it actually just got an honorable mention at an Athens Film Fest. So I'm thinking, so I'm going to submit it to HorrOrigins next year also, because you guys have kind of already familiar with the script anyway. So why not?
Yeah, awesome. If you finish it and we can see it, I would love to see it. I would absolutely adore getting to see it.
Yeah, maybe we could trade contact info somehow.
Yeah, all for it. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. I wanted to talk about the writing process of your screenplays, because I think with horror, there can tend to be a formula, or you can break the rules, whatever works for you. So for each of you, what beats did you make sure you hit in order to like make sure that we had the scares in there that really drove the story? Like in the writing process, rather, like what did you do to ensure that you hit this beat and that beat to tell a solid, scary story?
Well, I am the character a lot of the times, and I am the one that's getting scared. So whatever character I have, I'm like, what would be really like real and scare the crap out of me as this character, as the one I write? And then I will like just write it out, and then I'll read the dialogue aloud. And I just want it to be believable. I don't want it to be boring. And I want to know, would it scare me? And if it doesn't, then I'm like, and I get another line that I like a lot better, or know the situation. And I try to be like, the visual thing really carries me also, the setting. And I used to go out and take pictures like of a cemetery or whatever I needed, and I put it up on boards, and I would write what I want to write. And I'm like a crazy woman, because I'll read something 50 times that I wrote, and I just can't help it. And then it just gets better and better, in my little mom head,
Love it. Anyone else?
I mean,
Right.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Davis. Yeah, so for me, like an idea comes to mind, I jot it down. I like to write the first few drafts by hand, really. And then I like, once I have like the core of a character, like a main character or supporting character, I always like to go by become the character, like embody them and try to like see how they interact with their environments. Even if I reach like a writer's block, I just do simple exercises like, what would the character be doing right now? Like, what would they watch on television? How would they be interacting at a party? Like, just to build up my own information on the character that I'm writing about. You have to know them through and through. So, because you are writing about people. So.
Anyone else want to share? Oh, I think Davis.
Yeah. One thing I have learned from years of watching horror is people automatically get concerned if there's a kid on the screen and if there's an animal on the screen. There's nothing else like it. And I met Dee Wallace from The Howler and Cujo a few months ago, and like I asked her, like the script was already completed, but I asked her what makes a werewolf movie good, and she's just like, be better, you'd be different. I'm just like, oh well, okay, cool. So that works. So I really just wanted like the jump, like if you're gonna have like a jump scare or anything violent, it's like you just need characters that you actually care about in there to actually like, so people actually are clutching a seat or doing something and reacting. So, you know, I was like, I just wanted a story that was kind of heartbreaking and to let it flow from there, basically.
That's great.
So
And you touch on the dog and the kids. So I want to actually talk about each of you, the main character you have in your story, and how either you relate to it or how you feel like the audience can relate to your main character. So for each of you, talk about your main character.
Cool. Main character in mine, his name is Bradley. He's new in town. He's smaller than the other kids, so he's kind of obviously a target. And I wanted to write a story where it was really just a kid trying to face his fears and kind of failing at it. Because I was a absolute chicken when I was a kid. I didn't like horror movies until I was in my teens, because like Chucky scared the hell out of me. You can see toys all around me, because that would be my nightmare if these came to life and tried to kill me. So I wanted to really play with being a kid and being afraid. So that's why it's set in a school, and you know, it's a school after dark. The street lights come on is the first thing that happens in the movie, so you shouldn't be out at night when the street lights come on. And I just really tried to tap into what being afraid as a kid was. And that's very much me. When I was a little kid, I was afraid of the dark. The noises would scare me at night, those kind of things. And I just really wanted to tap into that. There's also a big group of bullies in my short, and they're also kind of the worst of me. Like I feel like I made an anti-bullying movie, but it goes to an extreme. And it's just like, let's look at myself, and like, kids are kind of awful sometimes. They don't mean to be, but you know, they're just young and they're learning. And that was the whole approach, is just really shine a light on the things that I'm insecure about with myself, even when I was a kid, and things that even I regretted. So I really kind of put myself into everyone in it. Everyone. There you go. There's the title again. So
you're gonna love the new Chucky series. You know, like if you haven't,
a fan of that now.
If you haven't, I was about to say, if you haven't already started it, you know, like 3 episodes in, like you're gonna love it.
I used to not be able to look at that doll's face. I mean, I saw a trailer for the second one on USA Network when I was way too young, and it stuck really deep in here. I couldn't even look at it, but I've broken myself of that. I'm not afraid of these guys coming to life. I treat them real nice. So.
Anyone else? Thank you so much for sharing, Phil. Actually, I do got to catch up on the new Chucky, Davis. I do got to catch up on that. So
I got to catch the 3rd episode, but I was very surprised at how good it actually turned out. But for me, with mine, a young boy and his dog, the dog is actually dedicated to my dog, who passed away. But you know, she had a good long life, and it's, you know, like, I wouldn't say the kid is necessarily just me, but there are moments that are definitely me. As in, like, there's a moment where the werewolf is, you know, about to come up the stairs, the kid's ready to face him, you know, like I love that we've been talking about facing fears, you know, because that's like one of the big plots or themes of mine. And it was from a dream I had after I watched Jurassic Park as a kid. And I woke up because I heard velociraptor noises. I come to the top of the stairs, and they're running up the stairs. They're just running at me. And I just picked up a green ball and threw it and knocked them all down. And I thought, yay, the threat is over. And then I looked in the foyer window, and the T-Rex eye was just staring. And then I woke up. So I just combined, like, you know, my love for my dog and, you know, friendship and stuff with, you know, one of the few dreams I can remember from childhood. And I was like, this seems like it could work. So we're gonna go with that. So
anyone else?
Yeah, I'll go. So my 2 characters are Max and Steely, and that's his nickname because he has a leg that has a brace on it. So he always gets a lot of comments about his brace. They're just really good friends, and I explored what it is to be like a 12-year-old boy. You know, they freaking destroy stuff, and it really scares one of the boys. And so you know how kids really make fun of each other? So the one guy, Steely's like totally making fun of Max, who has the doll in his hand and swinging about ready to destroy it. He goes, "Oh, you're a girl, you're a girl." So I just love playing with what I saw as a camp counselor, because I work with so many of these kids, and they talk terrible to each other, they make fun of each other, and yet they're kids, so they get scared. And so I explored that between their relationship while dealing with this really scary thing in the woods. And that was a lot of fun, because it allowed me to really write some real moments that really, as I reread it, I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I remember feeling like that as a kid, being scared, wanting your mom, lashing out and saying things you don't really mean. It was fun to write.
Kids are awful. I said it. Kids, like, they really are awful. And that's even looking back. I was awful. You know, everybody had a moment that they're awful. So that sounds really great. That sounds
sounds great to be awful.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, writing from your experiences, that's really cool. I'd love to read it. I'd love to see it. That sounds great.
Thank you. So does yours. And your guys's.
Everyone's.
Yeah, I would actually like to read all your guys and see your film that you made from it. That's super exciting. Like, to actually film it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you produce or direct it?
I produced it and directed it. Yeah, we
Awesome.
well, yeah, I mean, I kind of consider myself like an associate producer, because I actually had a producer, and but I was doing a lot of the work also on that end. But casting was amazing, and it was really cool.
So out of New York, casting it out of New York?
Yeah. We I held auditions in a studio in Manhattan, and I gave the sides out, but I didn't give much of the story. And I got an actor. I was so grateful. His name's Tom Martin, and he just blew it away. Like, I'm really grateful I found him. So.
And isn't it awesome to see your words and what you wrote come like alive with these actors? That's the best part of this all.
Yeah, it's really an experience, just from that like little seed of an idea that grows onto a few words onto a page, then the final draft, then an auditions, just somebody besides yourself reading it out and all that, and then now it's on the screen. So it's a really a magical thing. It's
great.
I'm curious what everyone is working on now that Origins is, I guess, almost over. What are you folks working on now, whether it's horror or anything else?
I'm working on a horror comedy, because they're two of my loves, called Tour Guide of the Damned, based in South Carolina, Charleston.
I'm trying to get everyone made. So that's where I am right now. So like the festival circuit stuff, that's a means to an end to kind of, get some people interested in it. And I got a director in California who wants to make it. So we're taking a step in the right direction. And I've known him a good chunk of my life. He's really capable. And he gave me a note on the end of my movie that made the movie better. That made the script better. And I was like, that intuition, you need to make this, because I didn't come up with that, you did. And, it was like, it was literally just changing who says one word. That was it. And I was like, you're a genius. Please make my movie. So we're storyboarding it. We got it, budgeted, all that kind of stuff. And it's just getting the money to make it. That's where we are right now. So
yeah.
It's all about that money, but that's still awesome that you're, storyboarding. I can't draw. I'm trying to learn how to storyboard. It's the bane of my existence. So fantastic.
I love doing it. I've been a graphic designer for 10 years. The movie stuff, I've kind of been out of it for a little bit. But I made the poster that I've been using for this one in about an hour and a half. So, it's like, you guys ever need any promotional stuff, so you have more than just a blank square on Film Freeway or whatever, just,
What? No.
I'll throw my hat out there. I'll help.
No one ever does a blank square. What are you talking about?
I have two that I'm currently doing things for. So there you go. They're still the gray square.
I'm right there with you. I have at least one that's like that on Film Freeway too. Yeah, it happens. Right. I just got done working as a props master, which I've never done before, on a horror short that is in post-production now. And so now that that's settled, I'm trying to squeeze in a few more scripts, but finish them before the end of the year, and then find that money like everyone else. So just seeing where the festivals land.
Love it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm once the live action, like the produced version of The Call, hits the circuits, I'm going to actually kind of start finishing. I'm going to finish a script I've called Nina right now. There's a bit of horror, but more sci-fi in it. It's about a domestic violence, but there's more to it than just domestic violence, even though that's a serious issue in itself. There's more layers to it, and I guess it can delve into the horror or sci-fi realm of things. There's also something called No Man's Land that I finished and it's very dear to me. So I'll be talking about that with people, and yeah, that's what I have going on right now.
Love to hear it. Everyone, thank you so much for your time today. It was a pleasure hearing from fellow writers and just movie buffs alike. So thank you so much again, and we look forward to sharing this to the world.